We're getting into the draft. We'll see if Cloud9 can pull off the sweep and continue forward here in the lower bracket. Of course, they were upset by Shopify. That was a pretty big surprise. And definitely have to lock in now because you are in the elimination stage. One series last year, and you are donezo. So it is the last chance for both DSG and C9. And now DSG already were big underdogs, but they'll have to reverse sweep if they want to have a chance of continuing on.
All right, bans are done for the first half with Xin Zhao, Annie, and Aurora being banned out by C9. Disguised, Pantheon, Aurora, and Taliyah all taken off the table, and C9 will lock the Ryze as their first pick.
Yeah, like Ryze, again, like Ryze is not just really strong, but very flexible, semi-global, able to fit into a lot of different compositions. They can kind of design whatever they want around this. As we see, the Sion immediately locked in for Castle, really big frontline coming through, and the Poppy, who is making it through bans, I believe the first time in this series, also locked up for Disguised.
Yeah, I mean, you're grabbing Poppy, but you're grabbing Poppy into a team that hasn't drafted any dashes yet, right? So they do grab the Aatrox, but it is Ryze and Skarner, so not two champions that you really want to play the Poppy into. I think Poppy can be an S-tier pick, but to me, it's a conditional S-tier pick, and DARKWING's bringing out something that is also one of those kind of conditional S-tier picks. It is considered really good into the Ryze matchup.
Yes.
You can kind of outrange the Ryze. You can really make things difficult. You can also wall off the Skarner when he's trying to get in there. It can be really effective against low and medium range picks. So the Malzahar didn't work out, but I still respected the attempt. I'm down for this, man. You got a reverse sweep here. Let's see what you got.
I love this, actually. I think Anivia could be played in a lot of situations. Specifically, you talked about the Ryze matchup, but I feel like we were seeing her a little bit earlier this year, occasionally over in top lane, sometimes in the LCK, from Nongshim, I believe. And yeah, I actually really like it. It's not like, I know people will be like, oh, they're full sending it, this is their last game. It's partially that, but it also partially is a very good pick. It's a very good scaling pick. So if they are able to drag this game out, Anivia has such great neutral objective set up. She has such great AoE damage as well. So that's something to look out for if they're able to get to that point in the game.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it is going to be the first career Anivia game for DARKWING's in pro play.
Okay.
But again, he has been confident to actually bring out different picks and different styles. He likes these control mages, and yeah, I do think Anivia can be quite strong. So I'm kind of excited to see how they round out the draft. You know, is this going to be Poppy jungle? Is it going to be Poppy support? You know, what is the answer there for them? Cloud9 obviously with something that is quite standard over on their side, but really when you kind of just like squint, I mean, Anivia is just another control mage, right? Anivia could be like a Victor or something. It's your kind of, you know, your control mage with the wave clear in the mid lane.
Turn into an egg.
And then they have a couple, well, that we know of. I mean, maybe he just needs a
secret 11th episode of Arcane.
Corky drops eggs now.
You know?
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have a fun Victor skin where the gravity field is just like a cracked egg?
It's just a bunch of egg.
Yeah, and you get stuck in the goop when you step on the gravity field.
It is.
Yeah, it's egg goop.
You're stuck in egg.
Ew.
Okay, let's. Hey, we got support bands. We got three powerful support bands here with the Braum, Alistar, and Rakan band away. Sivir going to be the last band here of the draft for C9 too, as Disguise goes ahead. They lock in the Rell for themselves for some big engage and some AoE, which also lets us know Poppy's not going support.
Yeah, so I was going to say, they could have left it up, open, the flex. However,
go for it.
They're deciding to lock in the Rell on 4 and save their AD carry for 5. Meanwhile, we have the Blitzcrank locked in for Vulcan. We're going places with this draft.
Blitzcrank versus Anivia. What year is this in League of Legends?
Blitzcrank versus 3 big old meatballs.
Yeah.
None of them you really want to hook in. So this is going to be interesting to see how it does work out. The last time we saw Anivia was a Jensen game back in 2023, which, if I'm remembering correctly, the stats team is going to double check this, but I think it was one into a JoJo PN, because I remember this funny like interview about like, you know, JoJo wasn't even born last time this was played, and how, you know, he wouldn't even know how the abilities work and all this sort of stuff. So it'll be funny to see if Loki, who is also very young, is comfortable with it. But we are getting some dragons in here. We got the Smolder as this pick, which I actually think Smolder is fantastic into these kind of compositions here, where there's going to be so many frontliners that you can just kind of whack away on.
And I'm doubting the Blitz even more now that Ezreal's been locked in, because Arcane Shift can just buffer through the hook if you know how to do the timing correctly. So it's like, okay, who do we want to pull? Sion, Poppy, Rell, Ezreal, who just gets to cheat out of it.
But
or
just wait, he's going to hook the Anivia egg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it in.
We can
Punch it.
deliver the eggs.
Yeah.
Have you ever punched an egg? Anyway.
I don't think I have.
I haven't. Now I was thinking about it.
I've thrown some eggs, but I've never
Same.
punched an egg.
I did egg someone's house once.
Ooh.
That's pretty rebellious.
FBI,
of you,
here she
Emily.
is. Arrest this woman.
It was
Admitted her crimes
it was
live
when
on
I was in
stream.
high school.
Hey, we all have a
We're
rebellious
really
phase.
mad
Statute
at-
of limitations on.
Yeah, we're really
on these
mad
heinous
at
crimes.
my friend's ex-boyfriend. What I am really curious about is what the chat thinks of an Arrow's draft, right?
Should Emily
Because
be arrested? Vote in chat
No.
now.
Good, bad, or
chat,
remake
I should
of
not
Emily's
be
actions.
arrested.
Misdemeanor, federal crime, or Guantanamo Bay for Emily.
Oh my god!
The chat will decide your fate.
The chat will decide my fate and the fate of an arrow
Yeah.
in this draft.
Spam it. Good, bad, or remake for what you think the grade is for an arrow on the draft, because we're going to try to get an interview with an arrow where we can show him the report card as well.
Yeah.
Jack is 2 for 2 on good. So it's important. I'm following along with this. I need to know what Jack thinks about this, because if Jack doesn't vote, I'm taking that as a remake, but a polite remake where he doesn't want to say it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
he
he's
doesn't want to
delivering
call
the
him out.
feedback after class.
Well, it was a 63% good in game
Jack
1.
said LeBron.
It was
So
a
he's doing pretty
75
hard.
Okay,
good
so he's
in
going for
game
the extra
2.
level.
Okay, so Jack is happy with all 3 of them. We'll let you all know once we get the results in for this 3rd game how well that draft ends up being voted on, as we will see the electrocute here for DARKWINGs on the Anivia to try to get that snappy burst damage, have that extra ability to trade in short bursts against the Ryze.
Yeah, and that being said, in this draft,
Whoa! Okay, this one has received much greater
People
criticism
don't like the blitz.
than the previous drafts. Jat, you're standing by with an arrow. What's he
Explain
think?
yourself, an arrow.
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Defend yourself?
Defend myself?
Yeah, it's 74% remake.
I'm down. I agree with chat. Let's do it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm down to remake. No, it's fine. I know Veigar V2 is at home right now. Poppy Anivia. This guy is like an Anivia fiend.
Yeah.
And he's just like Anivia into Ryze. Like Poppy Anivia. Like people just don't play it, but it's good.
Yeah.
And Loki's like, okay, I'll try. Okay.
So do you
But-
think, I mean, it felt to me like game 2 draft worked out really well. Game 1 draft was strong comfort chaps. Do
Yeah.
you feel like game 1 and 2 drafts were better than this draft?
I mean, game 1 and 2 are always just like more practice and like more standard.
Yeah.
So it's pretty chill and easy. Here is like more of a reaction to what they're doing. You know exactly what pick is going to come on 4. Like Rell is obviously getting picked. Everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah.
But down to like trade it to play into it with Blitzcrank here. Vulcan actually brought up Smolder in this, which I think is like a pretty good call out. They're probably going to look to swap. They don't want to be playing Aatrox versus Sion. Anytime this is like our side playing it, Aatrox is just completely fisting Sion. It's so good for us. So they're going to swap. And then what is Smolder going to be doing the entire time? Just farming stacks off of Sion and chilling. And they're not going to have like the easiest time getting away with that without playing like super well. So the expectation is they'll probably mess up. We'll probably get free stacks.
Yeah.
And it's chill.
Okay, so you're LeBron James of drafting.
30% of the time. Dude, I said game 1 and 2, that's my stomping ground. I got that covered. Game 3, 4, 5, you can have the rest. Like, it's all yours.
Okay,
Like, we get our first 2, and you're screwed. I'm going to get 1 more in there. 1 more draft in there, we'll be good, I swear.
all right, thank
That's all
you
good.
for taking the time and air. We're going to send it back to the casters.
Thank you.
Thank you, LeBron. Appreciate
Yeah.
you taking the time out of your busy schedule. And you know what? I got no problems with this draft. I wouldn't be voting remake. And I think he brought up some good points. I actually really like the Smolder thought process there of, okay, nice buffer. The expectation of, okay, well, Sion's just going to lane swap, and then I just get to free farm stacks off the Sion. So we'll see if that does come to fruition, but I like that idea. And we also never talked about, because we were so focused on just the Anivia in isolation, Poppy Anivia as the combo. You can go in with that Poppy charge and then throw up the wall as they are getting charged and actually stun them on it, or obviously you can preemptively put that down. But being able to build terrain for the Poppy to stun into is a really nice combo. So I'm excited to see how eXyu and DARKWINGs will be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I want to see the C9 chat now to see if Veigar V2 is just yelling at an arrow, you know, because Anero pointed out that he is a fan of the Anivia Poppy combo, and I also think it's really good. Like, I love Anivia in this draft. I love the call out from Anero that was actually Vulcan bringing up the Smolder, because I like the Smolder in this draft as well.
So if Cloud9 win this game in 28:05 or less, it will be the fastest best of 5 in North America this year. So that is the mark that they're going to be shooting for.
Well, eXyu and huhi trying to go for an early invade here, putting the pressure onto Blaber. Has to flash away, but now the collapse is coming in from Loki and Vulcan. Nice pull back onto eXyu, who's got to try to escape back over this wall, and he does get that distance. First blood over to DARKWING on the Anivia. Disguised invade ends up paying dividends, but they still will lose one of their own men as huhi falls at the very end.
All right, so let's tab up all of the stats here. So we lost flash and heal on huhi, we lost flash on eXyu, but we got flash off Blaber, flash off Loki, and 1 for 1. So honestly, not bad. Anivia getting that kill as well at the end of the day, and Blaber is going to get pushed out here by Rahel. Wow. Nearly gets killed, so gets pushed out of his own jungle, tries to go for the invade on respawn, and gets found by the Ezreal.
Now though, DARKWING might be under a little bit of trouble, but not really. Even if he did get caught out there, even if he did get hit by a Blitzcrank hook, the egg would be able to keep him alive long enough because of the mana on Loki being so low. So Thanatos just going to keep pushing up here in the top side. And like Anero said, the matchup is not particularly fun for Sion.
He's up CS though. He is not getting smacked around as anticipated. Those were the words that Anero used.
Yes,
that was a good
words.
asterisk.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing that's been really interesting in this game thus far is how active both supports have already been on the map, especially around that mid lane. You really want to get this Anivia into a good position, and then similarly, you want to get the Ryze into a really good position. So it'll be interesting to see what both Vulcan and huhi can do, especially Vulcan on this Blitzcrank. Because as we talked about, prio targets.
Not a lot of them.
No,
not a lot of
not really
ones.
a lot.
So this is an old Easter egg. I'm sure you guys know this because you've been playing League for a long time.
You're calling us old. It's fine.
Yeah, we're all old.
True.
As Loki should be able to walk this one out.
Yeah, he gets tackled towards the wall, but the distance is still a little bit too far to get the collision, get the stun there for eXyu.
But pop quiz, do you guys know when Anivia types in chat as an egg, what it calls her?
Eggnivia.
There you go.
Eggnivia.
Yeah, that's a
that one always gets me. That's a classic.
It's one of the old school ones, as we will see both of our junglers fighting over the Scuttle Crab here in the top side river, as Zven and Vulcan happy to scrap down here in bottom lane. Allow Smolder to keep trading and farming stacks as Blaber's about to die here. Castle claims him. Thanatos goes in for eXyu, wants to make that an even trade, but the feat of warfare has already been secured by Disguised as Loki's Ryze just gets destroyed here, and Thanatos is trapped inside of the Rift Herald pit. He tries to get away with the Umbral Dash over the wall, but Castle's ready to follow, and C9 is having a bad time in the early game. Disguised getting the better of him.
This is a 3-0 Sion who's already going for an aggressive build here, by the way. We'll see if he's going for a Sterix, if he's just going straight for a Titanic. I think it's going to be a Titanic build. He has the early tunneler and 3 fast kills. You draft for this matchup where the Aatrox is supposed to be smacking around the sign. You're supposed to have a good time in that 1v1. But the problem is, if he gets to a fast Titanic, the Wave just gets one shot every single time. He doesn't have to interact with you if he does not want to. And this play, was really kind of started off here by C9, but a great engage from Castle, or shall we call it a counter engage, comes in with the ult, stuns up Blaber. eXyu's able to get on the other side of Blaber, stun him into the wall off that, and then eXyu knows he's going to die, but just buys so much time for the rest of the squad.
Yeah, and Loki came in with a really low health already to try to help. Meanwhile, DARKWING was fully in position to clean up, and this Anivia is already 1-0-2 now in a really great position going forward. So again, it's going to be on DSG's execution. How will they be able to snowball this and get into a good position around neutral objectives, as we see C9 already back onto those grubs.
Yeah, C9 looking to make some quick work of these with the Aatrox and Skarner. They'll take out the first one. eXyu stepping up, though, priming the Keeper's Verdict, but he does not let it fire. DARKWING, huhi, and Rahel all moving forward now, too. But Cloud9's also bringing in backup of their own. They've already claimed the first 2 grubs, but Disguise does manage to at least steal away the third.
Yeah, something worth noting, DARKWING's just rushing straight towards this Roa. Did not go for a tier. Anivia is ridiculously mana hungry, so that is going to be a potential issue for him later. Zven now down to this bot side. He is playing TP. We never talked about that, but he's going to be answering Castle. Castle's got hands, though, because he is not going for this really defensive build. He didn't rush Bramble that we see people go for often in these matchups, so you have to be a little bit more nervous. But of course, we can see Anivia still just go like Roa into Leandries, and these types of builds are quite strong. But no tier. Sometimes you will really struggle with the mana, so I'm just interested to see if he picks up a late tier or if he's just going to fully skip it.
Means it's that much more important to make sure that you've got control over your own jungle, make sure you're giving him those blue buffs every single time they're available.
Yeah, I mean, that used to be such a big discussion in League of Legends. Like, when we would have these Anivia drafts and Ziggs drafts and these ones where it's like, it's going to be a 50-minute game where this guy just wave clears infinitely. Denying blue buffs was so big because it was one of the only ways you could actually kill towers, because otherwise Anivia was just one-shotting every wave forever and just walling you off, and you could never actually get it in siege.
Somebody get Froggen on the phone. The expert, Zven, avoiding the damage from Castle here as now he and Vulcan are firing back into this Fed. Sion, there's the pull, brings him back in as Blaber arrives. Zven does take a little bit more damage there from the decimating smash, and Blaber ends up using the ulti to kill Castle, reposition eXyu a little bit, but they don't have enough damage left to actually threaten eXyu too. Zven, very low on health, completely out of mana, but C9 get their kill.
Yeah, Zven got low, and maybe that kind of prompted eXyu to want to try to flash in and make something happen. He's trying to peel there. I feel like he didn't need to go for a flash on that play. Flash is so big on Poppy to be able to actually redirect 4 stuns. So he goes in with the flash ult, but that's your playmaking gone. He is going to be able to start up this dragon. We'll see if they can secure it. Looks like they will, as C9 did dedicate a lot of resources to killing off Castle, but he does finally fall for the first time this game.
Zven at 68 stacks on the Smolder, so not a particularly super fast Smolder stacking game. Remember, usually we want to see Smolder hit 225 around like the early 20-minute phase.
Yeah, and to be fair, it does obviously scale up. It gets a lot faster as you go, because once you hit 25, you're going to be getting more there, and when you hit 125, etc. You do start AoE stacking a lot faster, and you have more CDR.
Okay, Vulcan taking the Ryze ulti, the Realm Warp there to get on top of Darkwings with this Anivia, and there's the egg getting procced. Now they have to make sure that they can kill him the second time, but the egg is very tough. Darkwings buys enough time to stay alive for now. He's still trying to get away, but the Rune Prison comes back off cooldown. Nice play there from C9, using Realm Warp to bring Vulcan in to lock Darkwings up long enough to get the kill. Now the egg on cooldown for the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, it takes a while, but a nice little cute combo from Loki and Vulcan. This is going to give Loki free reign over this bot wave, be able to push in, get a few plates for himself. As we see, huhi might be looking for something. We have the TP in from Anivia.
Okay, Loki's got to try to get out of here. Does pop his phase rush for a little bit of extra distance, but knows he needs to flash. huhi wanting that kill badly, committing the Magnet Storm, but the summoner spell from Loki's enough to get him away.
Still a nice trade, being able to get that flash off. Doesn't spend a summoner of his own. But we are getting to see, some of the strengths of Anivia in these skirmishes. We're also getting to see some of the weaknesses. It can be really hard to stay safe in a side lane. Anivia is not a good side laner. You are so slow, it is ridiculous. That is why you generally just saw Anivia kind of parked mid lane perma. But if Ryze is going out of the side lane, it's not like Ezreal can just 1v1 against the Ryze. You need the Anivia to be able to match to wave clear, but that does open you up to getting picked on, like we just saw.
Yeah, Anivia's kind of a wave clear turret that happens to look like a bird, right? That's her job.
That's a good way of putting it,
as fast as a tower, too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why she's mostly
Look,
immobile.
she's old. Her wings are slow. I don't know.
The wing flapping is just for the aesthetic. You're not actually getting anywhere.
It's about sending a message.
So she's a penguin?
Terrifying.
Yeah,
she like can't actually fly.
Yeah.
She's just like flapping her
That's
wings.
the secret lore of Anivia.
She's just flying there. Come on.
We can see the one thing that is always interesting to look at with Anivia is they almost always want to max their E because that's your big damage spell. That's what gives you the trading power. But sometimes you will see extra points put into the W to crystallize the wall, right? Like earlier on
really
after
wide.
that E. Because you can occupy so much space with it. Right now, that's not the case. But there's the wall summoned up. Nice combination with the Poppy. Point blank ulti, but it's not enough to kill Loki just yet. And finally, Darkwings gets the last hit with a Frostbite. Blaber's got to try to get away. Now he has plenty of health. He should be fine. But I love the combo of Poppy Slam into the Anivia wall.
I mean, that's the exact combo that you draft that for. They built a wall and they made Loki pay for it. They knocked him down. Get a kill there.
Nice stuff from C9 here as they want to use Zven and Vulcan now to continue pushing these waves out mid, continue building pressure, continue trying to build these leads up against Disguise, because as we're moving forward, we got 15 seconds left until the turret plates fall. It's generally in the mid game, in the larger team fights, where teams that are ranked lower in the standings will struggle or stumble against higher ranked teams in these more coordinated environments. So for Disguised, you've done a good job. This is a much more similar early game to game 1 than game 2. You've kept things close so far, so now if they stay locked in and keep making plays like this, they can still take it to Cloud9.
Oh, this is just a really nice execution of the Anivia wall into Poppy's stun combo to get onto Loki's Ryze. It's exactly what you want to see, even with Blaber being able to kind of get the double suppress.
And the difficulty, you know, and why this is so tough for Ryze against the Anivia is when you're in range to Q, you are in range to get walled in to this ulti, right? The ulti gets dropped on your head, you get walled off, you're slowed inside it, and it's very, very difficult because if any part of that CC combo hits, everything is going to hit. You get stunned to the wall, that's a guaranteed Anivia Q stun after it. Then the Poppy can just do a tap on the ulti for a knock-up. Good positioning here from Castle.
Okay. Finds a quick snappy trade there onto Loki. And yeah, that's the power of that Titanic like you're talking about, right? Remember, Titanic, the on-hit damage scales off of your HP. He's already farmed up an extra 635 just from Soul Furnace. He's going to keep getting stronger. And those quick trades are very, very dangerous when he goes for this type of itemization. As C9 just defending here in the mid lane. We do have the Herald spawned now in the top side of the river. There's a very nice pull on the Darkwings, followed up by Blaber beautifully. Disguised are in some serious trouble as huhi's going to be killed off first. Thanatos jumps into the fight and Darkwings is still staying alive. Castle defending beautifully though. The decimating smashes there in Disguised are turning it right back around. The double kill over to Castle Sion. The raid boss joins the fight.
We talked about Sion having hands. This Sion definitely has hands. It is very dangerous.
Okay, Vulcan sidestepping away from the ulti here, but he's still getting chased down. The decimating smash still finds the stun. Castle needs a little bit more damage, but he will not find it. Zven hits him with a snot bubble there. Another trade back. I think Castle should still be okay here, and he'll walk away back to the safety of Dark.
And I'm honestly surprised how well that fight went for DSG when you consider Vulcan was throwing that hook at huhi, and he sidestepped it, and it hit his Anivia. Yeah. And so that started about as bad as it could have for DSG. The Anivia didn't really get to have a ton of impact. So watch this. He's looking for huhi, sidesteps it. Darkwings is coming up to try to peel, I think. Gets hooked into the ult, into the Smolder ult. Everything comboed onto him. Look how low he is to start this fight. Darkwings cannot really get a lot done. But Rahel is free-firing the whole time. Multi-man knockup comes through from Castle. He is just AoEing them down. You know, with the shield, with the Titanic proc, he is really getting a lot of work done.
Yeah, for as bad as that started for Disguise, they did a great job battling back and turning it around. They're still up 7-5 in terms of kills. They're still up slightly in terms of gold. Now, the Rift Herald has been claimed by C9, and it looks like they want to put the pressure onto this Tier 1 turret top.
Yeah, we'll see what they're able to do here. 4 members of C9 looking for a potential dive onto Castle. All they have to do is wait for this wave to get in.
Yeah, Castle's just, he knows they're coming. He's got to get ready, dig in, plan out his defense here, wants to try to clear out that wave as quickly as possible. Now he's just going to use the ulti and take his leave.
Yeah, I mean, huhi was moving up, but huhi is not going to be able to save you in a 2v5. The problem is they're going to get a charge on the next tower now, and they're just continuing to go. DSG just kind of lackadaisical in how they were responding to this. Now they're up here.
Ooh, nice use of the Keeper's Verdict there to turn this into a fair fight for Disguise. 3 versus 3, and Rahel is free-firing again with a nice true shot barrage here onto Thanatos, and they take him down with eXyu's Poppy being the killing blow. Disguised, 1 for nothing.
Yeah, really nicely done. And at the end of the day, because they defended Tier 2, they did get a Tier 1 down on the bot side for Darkwing, so they're the ones, obviously, that got defeats, and they are coming out with a kill to their name as well. Darkwing's going to be pushing in mid lane. Hasn't gotten a tier, so at this point he's clearly not going to. I am expecting him to just go in Leandry's second at this point. And you really can ramp up that damage quite heavily. I feel like they're in a good spot. Potentially even better than in game 1. Otacon, though, is spawning in a minute 50. And that is going to put some fear into the hearts of DSG fans.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like, theoretically, with the Anivia, with the zone control they can have.
Are you about to say they should do Otacon, Emily?
No, but
how much is Jack paying you?
They could have a setup. I do think they're in a better position with this composition to potentially do Otacon. Again, heavily dependent on their setup. But that is where we're going to look next, right, for both of these teams, because again, I do think DSG once again have put together a really strong early game, especially with this Poppy Anivia combo, and then very quietly, because we've talked a lot about Castle, but also very quietly, Rahel has been able to pretty much free fire and do whatever he wants in a lot of these team fights and skirmishes.
I also like the itemization from eXyu here with the Sundered Sky first item. Sometimes Poppy just wants to play pure tank. Other times you'll see more of like the bruiser type Poppy items, at least for like the first item or two. And I really just always enjoy the Sundered Sky combined with the shield toss for that first big hit, especially when you're trying to use these combos together with the Anivia. Set up for that big burst, catch somebody off guard. Disguised are still a little over 1,000 gold ahead. Otacon spawning in 30 seconds. The next Drake will be spawning in a little bit over 2 minutes. And Disguised also has controlled both Drakes so far as well. Really, I agree with what you said earlier, Isaac. I think this is an even better game state than they had in game number 1. And that means 2 out of 3 games that they've played here against C9, against one of these top teams, Disguised has had a really good start.
Yeah, they've had a great start. I mean, obviously, still some really strong scaling tools and playmaking tools over on the C9 side. But because we didn't see this C9 bot lane get way ahead, I'm not certain that you're going to get great value from the Blitz. Obviously, you can, but it's not guaranteed by any means, which does really put a damper on a team fight. If you go in and your contribution is like a missed hook and then you punch someone, where huhi's going in on Rell, like the expected value of the Rell is so much higher. Yeah. Yes, you do have the Smolder, and he is stacking up quite well. You know, he's closing in on 200 stacks at this point, so we'll have that in the next couple minutes. And I think that is really what C9 are going to be counting on, is the fact that Smolder is supposed to be the one getting a lot of the work done. But the rest of the team is relatively short range, and if you cannot get in onto the Anivia, she is going to cause you a lot of problems.
And I think in the first 2 games, Loki was such a standout performer on the Cloud9 side, right? His Azir and his Orianna were both just really, really good performances. And in this game, the Ryze is going all right. He's 1-2-2. But this is the first time we're really seeing DARKWING stepping up and like being the better mid laner in this game. He's 700 gold ahead. He's 2-1-3 here on his Anivia. He's got that Leandri's fully completed second item. He's got his powered up Sorcerer's Shoes there because they were able to claim the feats. So I'm really looking at him to continue proving like, hey, I can be the carry. If you give me the lead, I will give us the win.
And for me, it's all about how they are going to be setting up around these neutral objectives, right? Like we pointed out, Otacon, Drake is going to be up in about 30 seconds, as C9 is actually motioning to start off this Otacon. And honestly, DSG are not in a position where they can contest
They
it.
don't even see it.
Yeah.
I don't think they even know. Now they do.
Yeah, now they're aware, but I think it's a little bit too little, a little bit too late. 4,000 HP left on the Otacon, now down to 2K. Blaber's just going to smite it down, and C9 sneak it away, no fight.
Really nice Otacon sneak from C9. They don't give DSG the chance. eXyu.
He's fine. He's chilling. Okay.
But yeah, like we talked about how DSG could potentially set up around that Otacon. C9 doesn't even give them the chance of setting up.
Okay, DARKWING's walking towards what could have been a very dangerous tri-burst, but manages to get himself back away as Disguised are going after their soul point Drake. C9 do want to contest this one. Zven at 206 stacks on the Smolder, so not at that 225 breakpoint. Nice true shot barrage there onto the enemy AD carry as Castle's making a lot of space. huhi goes in for the Magnet Storm, but it's a swing and a miss as C9 disengages. Vulcan with a nice pull there onto huhi, but that's not going to get much done. Vulcan's the first to drop as Disguise takes some damage, but they're all 5 still standing. C9 wants to move forward yet again. Disguise with the Dragon down to about 3,000 HP. Blaber thinking about the possibility of a steal here, but he thinks better of it. C9 just have to disengage there. Disguise get a kill, and they get the soul point.
I actually thought C9 had done a pretty good job of absorbing the initial attack from DSG until Vulcan landed that hook, right? Which then maybe wasn't necessarily, like we talk about Blitz and Thresh hooks that you might not always want to connect, but that ends up changing the fabric of the fight and gives soul point and Drake over to DSG.
Well, now Castle walked up to the wave thinking it was just Thanatos, but Loki is here as well, so the Sion forced to flash away. He had no ulti there for the disengage potential of that one, so wants to make sure he doesn't just give away a free death to the Cloud9 solo laners.
Yeah, but he's going to be able to survive. And I mean, that does show some of the weaknesses kind of the Blitz. I mean, Blitz is tough to pull off sometimes. Zven has hit his 225. He's at 235 now at this point, so he has the eXyu up and available. Almost got it going during that fight. He was up to 223 during that Dragon fight because he was constantly splashing Qs through the Dragon onto eXyu, stacking up like that. But I mean, when huhi went in, yeah, he didn't find the bot lane, but he forced double flash, right? He was able to get their flashes off, so huhi, even though it was a swing and a miss, it was a nice attempt at the engage here. And as he comes in from the side, you're going to see this. There's one flash, there's two flash. Yes, they get out, but then Vulcan says, well, can we punish him here? Steps back up, gets the hook, but then he's going to get walled off. They know he has no flash, and again, there is the Poppy Anivia combo. You step a split second too far forward, you go a little bit too far forward, you're going to get walled off, you're going to get picked off, and that is showing the power of the zone control, especially on this configuration where Otacon is on that side. There's already one little mini wall. It's so hard to walk past that because one side is completely walled and the other is Anivia ult.
Well, Disguised are feeling good here still. The Otacon is gone from the Rift. Baron is about to spawn here in 20 seconds. Disguised with a very modest gold lead. They don't want to play too overconfidently here because the game could still go either way very easily. But it's a good look. It's the best look they've had so far 25 minutes into a game. I don't think Cloud9 are hitting that 28-minute win mark in this one.
Well, and Cloud9 protected them by taking the Otacon.
Yes, true. They removed it from the map.
They saved them from themselves. You can't throw out Otacon if your opponents get the Otacon.
They shouldn't have taken the Otacon.
They should not have. They should have just waited in the front.
Leave him on the map as a landmine.
The five-head play.
Yeah.
All right, Disguise. Let's see how they want to keep this game moving forward. Zven takes a quick burst of damage there from Rahel's Ezreal as Disguise move to occupy this top side river, force C9 back a little bit. Vulcan waiting over the wall, trying to make sure he's always in a position to land one of these hooks. If any of the Disguise players step just a little bit too far forward, Mom is summoned just for some wave clear. Should be pretty easy to clear this out after that, but no, Castle is just going to charge straight ahead and hard force this tier 1 turret down.
Exactly. They see Loki on the bot side, so you have to either answer him or you need to force a play, and their call is let's just force their hand, let's look for this play. Now they're finding Blaber.
Yeah, Blaber in some danger as huhi crashes down, but he can pretty easily get away thanks to the flash. So Disguised, yes, they will get the summoner spell out of the enemy jungler, but they still have Loki causing problems down here in this bottom lane at the tier 2 turret. He needs slightly more damage to finish the job and get this one done. Castle wants to show up and try to stop it, but Loki accomplishes his mission. Now the Realm Warp to get him away or to get him straight into the base where he can then teleport. Okay, it's a 5-head play. You teleport into the base so that nobody's close to you to interrupt your teleport so then you can actually get away to safety.
Yeah, and they just go straight towards top side. I thought he was going to keep pushing, honestly, when he TP'd to top, just the tempo TP. The reason he doesn't Realm Warp down there is he doesn't know where DSG is, and so he's thinking, if I try to Realm Warp straight down the lane, DSG could already be wrapping around behind me in this point, so that is why he Realm Warps into the base, thinking, okay, there's less of a chance that they're going to be up there. At the end of the day, he gets solo gold on the tier 2 in the face of the Sion. Yes, they did lose the tier 1 mid. Yes, you did get the flash out Blaber, but that tier 2 is a lot of gold in the pocket of Loki, and that is more than his gold lead right now, because that's 700 gold that he got made for himself right there.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about how C9 or where this C9 composition kind of shines against DSGs, and I do think it is in side lanes, right? Like if you're able to get the Aatrox or the Ryze into a side lane where they can constantly push and set the map in a good spot for C9, that is how they can potentially take this game back.
Okay, 20 seconds until what'll be the Mountain Soul for Disguise spawns, but it's C9 with control over the bot side river. DARKWING's is 95% of the way towards level 16. He needs a little bit more EXP to hit that power spike. eXyu, nice keeper's verdict, connects on Blaber to knock him further away. huhi wants to step up for the Shattering Strike on Vulcan, but doesn't quite have the range. Castle, again, knows that his job is to protect these flanks, make sure that nobody can wrap around, find those valuable carries on Disguise. DARKWING still level 15 here on the Anivia, does have the passive up and ready to go as C9 now occupy the bottom side of this river as the dragon is started up. It's dropping rather quickly. Zven with the poke on this Smolder. He has his Infinity Edge rapid fire cannon, but now Disguise is full sending it going in. Loki's already dead at the very start of the fight. Blaber gets a 3-man ulti though, but nobody on Disguised is dead. eXyu staying alive for now, but he is finally taken down by Thanatos. 4v4 with the Dragon down to 1500 HP. Castle here on the front line, but the Dragon is secured by Blaber and C9. A nice pull from Vulcan brings back Castle, and Zven executes him. Now huhi, Rahel, and Darkwings are looking for a little bit more with Castle's dead body, but Darkwings misses the Flash Frost. Now Zven is on the hunt. He finds another nice bounce with the burn, but Vulcan misses the rocket grab onto huhi. Disguised, still trying to disengage. Darkwings does not want to lose his egg passive in a spot where he cannot be protected. So Disguised will not get the soul. They will lose 2 for 1 in the trade, and C9 come out on top.
Oh. Yeah, very close fight. They did get that great pick onto Loki, but the problem was Zven was free firing the whole fight. They never threatened Zven. And I actually think that earlier Keeper's Verdict was such a mistake from eXyu, because that was on a flashless Blaber, and then he goes into the fight, he does not have his ulti. So they go in here, great counter engage from Blaber. Imagine if he didn't actually Keeper's Verdict them out and they just maybe even get a kill off that earlier play. This could have potentially been a guaranteed soul, but they do go for the engage. They get that first pick onto the Ryze, but again, eyes on Zven. He is never threatened. He's just splashing damage across everyone, getting these executes. The Smolder is a problem at this point, and now it's C9 on the Baron. They're trying to force the issue.
Yeah, Zven getting his Infinity Edge before that fight was a big power spike as
Rahel
well.
just flashed nothing.
C9 now 6,000 HP left on the Baron. Disguise going forward, Keeper's Verdict there onto Blaber.
It's their Baron.
Castle making space. Disguise just walk in and take the Baron. C9 without proper preparation for the objective find themselves in a bad spot. Nice two-man pull coming out from Blaber though, and Rahel is already dead. Huhi's gonna join him. The Baron might have got stolen away, but Thanatos wants revenge, and Disguised are not gonna be stopping him. That egg's getting scrambled. Loki with the shutdown, and C9 are on the push.
Oh my gosh, C9 coming out ahead. These suppressions coming out of Blaber have been absolutely crucial to get Sven's damage out. Zven remains untouched throughout these fights.
The game.
Really nice realm warp from Loki too on the backside of that. And now C9 are just barreling down mid.
We'll see. I mean, they do have Baroned up minions to try to defend, and great cut. So eXyu goes behind, he gets the next wave there. Castle should be able to kill this one off, so C9 aren't going to go for anything more, but I want to see what happened with Rahel. It looked like he just flashed nothing when he wasn't even being able to be attacked, and because he was missing that flash, it meant he didn't have it for this fight. Yeah, he just flashed over the wall into that to hit the ward. I don't even know what he was trying to press, because it's not like you were trying to barrier there, but a huge mistake from Rahel, and then missing that flash. I mean, yes, this was a great Keeper's Verdict. You knocked them out, but the problem is Castle's isolated on the side. He's getting picked off, and then in comes Blaber. huhi interrupts this, but Rahel backsteps to hit Blaber, gets pulled in by the Skarner ult, no flash to avoid it. That is so costly. It took what could have been, you know, a potential game-winning play, something where you really take over. And Blaber saves it with a great ult. It means that DSG get run over. They do get that Baron, but they are losing their base.
Yeah, it was a pretty big blunder there from Rahel, and now Disguised. Castle's even in danger. Zven does so much damage now. Eventually over time, with crit and armor penetration and damage and attack speed, carry damage will outpace however tanky the tank wants to become, and Zven is hitting that point on this Smolder.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Aatrox is just casually taking topside tier 2, which means that DSG is going to have to respond to that. But again, back to Zven Smolder, and just what a great pick this is into this composition. It's also the Blitz, again, kind of like retroactively. We talked about the weaknesses at times of this pick. But if Zven is able to soften people up constantly through doing that consistent damage, then a Blitz hook is a lot more punishing if you're already missing like 2/3, 3/4 of your health.
This is probably the most negative Red Bull Baron power play that I remember seeing in a long time. Negative 3K has been some dire consequences for that Baron play, that whole sequence up there for Disguise.
And this is absolutely crushing for them, right? Because we talked about that was a great Poppy ult initially, right? Getting Blaber out of the pit, being able to just yoink that Baron. They've had some really good individual executions between eXyu and DARKWINGs of that Poppy Anivia combo. It's looked really great at times in this game. And to have it all go wrong in that post-Baron fight is really, really devastating.
I mean, just look at Zven now. All he's doing is just queuing the minions and bouncing through for the splash, because at this point, it's 6.5% around there of true damage based on your health. for every one of those things that hits you, not even counting the base damage, right? So it is so much every time you get splashed. Wow, that was close.
Yeah, Vulcan goes for the pull, but he doesn't find anybody here just yet. Disguise continuing to push forward now with another Keeper's Verdict onto Blaber. Double flash over the wall from C9 to avoid Castle, as Thanatos now wants to stay away from Rahel. Castle takes a ton of damage, so massive engage coming out from huhi. The Magnet Storm onto everybody, and Vulcan and Zven are already down. Loki taken very low now too. Disguise may have just found their moment off the back of huhi's Rell, clutching up when they need him most.
huhi just saved the game for Disguise. That's going to give them control. Mountain Soul now to Disguise. This game just got a lot more interesting, and C9 are going to look at that one.
And that was a crazy engage. Credit to huhi, but also credit to Castle forcing out those flashes early on the initial engage. They go up here and they look for the Keeper's Verdict. eXyu is able to knock out Blaber, and then they're just full sending it. Thanatos is on the side kind of by himself, so Castle just goes in. It's basically a 5v3 that they're looking for. Vulcan and Loki both have to flash out, but then they decide, you know what, we're going to blast going back to Zven to get in here, and huhi says, if you are stacking up, I am going to punish you. Finds the perfect engage. Thanatos and Blaber aren't even there before the fight is basically done. And this is a fantastic play from DSG. Big moment from them, gets them soul. And the gold, it is tied as well. So they are now way ahead as far as the combat stats are concerned. And Castle, he's going to be a problem.
And we talked about, we kind of brought this up in the earlier draft with Karma, but huhi on engage supports, I know people are like, maybe sometimes you have to reel huhi in from making too aggressive plays, but he also, on this disguised lineup, has had some really clutch engages. Now in this game, we're seeing some highlights from some of his previous games, and he absolutely just saved this game for Disguised here.
0, 3, and 10 on the Rell, part of so many of these kills, racking up the assists here for the team. That really was just the moment, right? You were looking at a Cloud9 team that was almost 4,000 gold ahead, that looks like they were just going to continue running away with this incredibly fed Smolder, and then Disguised making that happen. It shrinks the gold lead back down to 1,000. It gives them all the power of the Mountain Soul. This is huge.
And to make matters worse for Cloud9, you also lost your GA and broke your Seekers during that fight. So those items now are way less valuable than they were going into it.
Well, we do have the Zhonya's Hourglass completed
Yeah.
for Loki there, so at least he will not be punished for that one, but the Guardian Angel still does have half of the cooldown remaining for Thanatos' Aatrox. Disguise looking for Zven here, but he does make enough distance there with a flap, flap, flap. Damage dealt to the champions in the last team fight. Rahel racking up the DPS as now Blaber caught here at the very front of the fight. Nice engage coming out from Castle, but they need a little bit more damage to finish the job. Thanatos here in the front line now too, but Loki gets a very nice kill in return onto huhi to make it an even trade. Blaber for huhi. Big engage mechanisms are down. eXyu at half HP. C9 marching down mid lane, but Disguised is waiting around off to the side. It forces C9 to rethink their positioning. They head towards the bottom side river, and Rahel with a nice WQ combo takes off half of Zven's HP immediately.
Yeah, and C9 recognizing, like, okay, we're just going to charge up mid. Our jungler is dead. We can't really necessarily contest this Baron, although now
they've got to. Now they're thinking about it. True Shot Barrage only hits Vulcan. Loki caught by the decimating smash there. Takes some quick damage at the very start. Has to go golden to try to survive, and DARKWING is forced into the egg form. Both mid laners under pressure. Both mid laners down. Thanatos, Zven, and Vulcan now. They have to try to scramble and protect Zven. The Smolder is the hope for Cloud9, and Disguise are forcing their way forward. Thanatos about to fall. Castle goes on a killing spree. Vulcan gets a pull, but he only kills himself. Now Zven trying to stand alone. He gets a killing spree with the execution. Castle is very low, but he's not dead yet. If he goes an inch closer to Zven, he just might die to an execute himself. But a nice True Shot Barrage is going to finally end this fight.
Both of these 80s carries do so much damage in these fights. It's going to be whichever one of them gets enough peel and enough control from their teammates to kind of pop off. We saw how well Rahel was doing there, and Sven's damage is just insane at this point in the game.
It really is, and honestly, it's just been these mid laners kind of getting picked on here. The initial play, it looks like it's going to be so good for DSG because Loki is the target. He's getting CC chain, but look at Vulcan on the side. Nails the hook onto DARKWING. He never even sees it. He had his flash available. If he was able to flash our Zhonya's that hook, They slam this fight. They get the Baron. It is completely different. Vulcan, though, making plays. And even though Loki goes down, again, Zven is free firing. Look at him just splashing through the team. Lands another hook there onto Rahel. He didn't quite have the E up to actually be able to get out of that, so that forces out the barrier. They're incredibly low. They can't actually get anything off the back of this. So Vulcan, I think he is a bit of a lifesaver for Cloud9. In that previous fight, it's huhi saving the game. This time, I really think it's Vulcan saving the game for C9 by making them able to get that kill on Anivia.
The supports are stepping up. Zven completing his final purchase here, hitting level 18. He's got the Serpent's Fang on his Smolder to stop some of these shields, to cut down on the Mountain Soul power as well. We've got Baron down to 40% HP. Disguised are trying to force this. Blaber wants to approach, but the Keeper's Verdict immediately denies him. With Blaber forced back, it's a free Baron for the side of Disguise, but now they've got to try to get everybody back away. Rahel sidestepping away from the hook there. Vulcan can't find him with that one, so Disguised get the Baron for free.
Yeah, nicely done. And Thanatos was down on that bot side very late to recall and actually respond to this. He wanted to base before he joined the fight because he was about to complete an item, but it meant that by the time he showed up, everything was already decided. So the Baron goes over very easily there to DSG. Nice sidesteps by Rahel. He always had his flash, so he could have flashed the hook if he wasn't going to be able to, but still, good job by him holding onto that summoner. And it's going to come down to an Elder, it feels like. This is the great equalizer, so if they can get it, we'll see if C9 can still pull off the sweep.
And honestly, things are still pretty equal with where we're standing. Disguise certainly, I would think, have the advantage with the Soul plus slight gold lead, but now Vulcan finds a pull only onto eXyu. Thanatos could be in some danger here with huhi and DARKWING putting a ton of damage into the Aatrox. Thanatos has been caught out. He's got Guardian Angel, so he's going to come back to life, but nobody on C9 is nearby to try to save him. Thanatos gets killed here at the very start. C9 trying to turn their attention over onto the Elder, maybe steal this away anyway, but Castle charging in. C9 carries are vulnerable, and now DSG is full, sending it after Cloud9 on a 5v4. Rahel is dominating. Vulcan is already gone, and so is Zven. C9 just got wiped out, and Disguise take the fight.
DSG with a massive team fight win there, and we'll see if they can try to end the game. They actually stop the teleport out from Loki, and Casso's just going to chase him while the rest of the team is going to go down mid. DSG were close in game 1, couldn't close that one out, but in game 3, they are making sure of it.
As soon as the game looked out of their control, huhi gets that clutch engage. They're able to take back the game in their favor. They're going to, against all odds, take a game against C9.
Beautifully done from Disguised. huhi's hero Rell play sets up the comeback. It's not going to be a clean sweep. It's not going to be the fastest series of the year. It's Disguised taking us to game 4.